you through objects, classes, and type aliases. If I was to create an object called shirt, and I was going to give it the size of medium, I would type it like this. Now this would give me perfectly valid, although a bit useless, code. If I wanted to try and change the shape of it and add, let's say, a color attribute, like so, you'll see it doesn't like that very much. And whilst in JavaScript this is valid code, in TypeScript you cannot change the shape of an object after it's been made, which is why here it says property color does not exist on type and it's this type. So I want to make this object a little bit more robust. So instead I'm going to change it. So now it's going to be let shirt, it's going to be a colon there, not equals. Add the squiggly brackets, I'm going to have size as a string, and I'm going to have color as a string. And I'm going to let that equal its values. Its values being size, it's going to be, in this case, just medium. And I'm going to have color, which in this case is just going to be red. Now, obviously they're arbitrary, but as you can see, that is a fully functional, although a bit messy object. We don't want to write this out every single time we make a new object of type shirt. And so I'm going to use something called type aliasing. So it's very easy to do. Let's do type shirt, because we want to use Pascal casing, because it's conventional. And I'm going to open the curly brackets. Now it's got nothing in there at the moment, but that's going to change because this actually goes in there. Now see, we've got loads of errors here. They all change because we do let shirt type shirt equal this, and it all works. Sorry, let me just quickly do that. Ta-da. And so what will happen now, if you want to do it, you just make sure you use the typing here, and it's just only have to use these two lines every single time. Okay, well now that's done, we want to go on to classes objects. So I'm going to get rid of this for now, because I'll be reusing the type name later. So we use Pascal casing again. So we've got our class shirt. And inside of this, we're going to have size again. We're going to have cost, which is going to be a number. And we're going to have color again, which is still a string. Now, as you can see, it doesn't seem to like this very much, and that's because none of these have been given values. So there's one way to get around it. I could assign it a default value, so we can have it as large, and that gets rid of the error for here. But not every single shirt is going to be size large, so I'm going to get rid of that for now. Additionally, I could make them optional, which means they're not actually needed for the object to work. However, every shirt has a cost, and so it's not practical for this specific application, but it is for some. So I'm going to get rid of that. Instead, I'm going to use the constructor. Now, we name it, obviously, the constructor. And inside the brackets for it, I'll have the size, which will be a string. Oh, not like that, sorry. I'll have the cost, which is going to be a number. And, you guessed it, the color, which is a string. Then, I'm going to have the actual function in here. And all this does is use this.size equals the size. Now, this.size is like self.size if you use Python, or this.size if you use JavaScript. This refers to that object. So then we've got this.cost equals the cost, and this.color equals the color. There we go. We've got a fully functional class. However, what's the point in the class if there aren't any objects? So this is actually quite easily done. All I've got to do is go down here. I'll do constant. Well, const, but it is a constant. My shirt, just so you know, in case you thought it was your shirt. And then going to use the new keyword, which is what actually makes this object. And then shirt in the right casing and everything. And then the values you want. So I want size, because that's the first one. Well, the size at the moment, to be a medium. It's going to cost £20 because it's not tremendously nice. And it's going to be red because I like the color red. And there we go. So if I was to compile this into JavaScript and run it, it would create my own myShirt constant, which is an object of the class shirt. But I want it to do a little bit more. So next, we're going to make a method. I'm going to call this method display because I want it to display everything out in a nice format. So to do this, I'm going to do display. It's got no input variables into it because it doesn't need any. And it's going to do return backtick. This makes it a template string, and I'll show you why that's important later. And it's going to say this shirt is $, curly bracket. Now what this does, this allows us to insert our attributes. So I can insert our size, or this.size, sorry. So it's going to say, at the moment, this shirt is medium, okay? I'm also going to say it also costs well, £20, but it costs this.cost pounds. And you can see I can insert the pound sign right there because it doesn't clash with this $, whatsoever. And it would be a nicer formatting output saying it costs £20 rather than 20. And obviously we've got to output the color as well. And is also red, which to do, we do the $, curly brackets, this dot color. Lovely. Now, just to check that this does what we want it to do, I'm going to write a little console.log statement. And all this is going to do is log my shirt dot display. Now, what this does, inside the statement, there will be the return value of my shirt's display function, and it's going to log it out to the terminal. So all that's left to do now is save this, open up a terminal window, get inside the right directory, which is video material. I'm then going to TSC, and will this work? Yes, it does, lovely. Now this creates our dis folder and our class.js file, which looks like this. And it's got the use strict because that's what I've configured my compiler to do. And so then I'm going to do node dist/class.js, and once again it should output this shirt is medium, £20, and is also red. Perfect. There we go. Well then, I've been Will, and this has been how to use objects, type aliasing, and classes. I personally would use classes instead of type aliasing for all objects of the same shape, but that's just my opinion, and there's a reason type aliasing exists, so feel free to use it. Goodbye.